What's going on, Packer fans? Day one of training camp is in the books. This is your quick hits episode of the Pack a Day podcast, breaking down the key takeaways from day one of Packers training camp. Tomorrow, I will have the full breakdown of everything that happened. Of course, members will get that early. Appreciate you guys being here. Of course, I'm your host, Andy Herman. You can follow me on Twitter at Andy Herman NFL. You can follow the podcast at Pack a Day Podcast. Let's jump into it right away. Clearly, obviously, the biggest takeaway from day one, no Jordan Love. We had the opportunity to talk to Brian Gutekunst first and then Matt LaFleur after that. And Brian was asked if the fact that Jordan's contract wasn't done yet would affect his ability to practice or play in the preseason. And he just said, yes, we were made aware on Saturday night that by Jordan's agency that he will not be participating in practice until a deal is done. I want to give you a hot take on this right away. And for those of you who don't know me, I'm not a hot take guy, not my thing. My hot take on this is actually, I think, a good thing. Let me explain. I actually think in the Andrew Brandt scheme of things, former Packers front office personnel member, as he always likes to say, deadlines spur action. And I think it behooves everyone to get this done sooner rather than later. And I do believe that everyone from Jordan Love to his agency to the Packers and Russ Ball and Brian Gutekunst and everyone is working in good faith here. There doesn't seem to be any true animosity, even the way that Brian talked about it. There are contract negotiations that you will hear GMs and coaches say, we're really disappointed that so-and-so is not going to be participating. We understand that there's a business side of this, but there was none of that. In fact, it was optimism from Brian. It was optimism from Matt. And I'm sure they want Jordan out there. But these first couple days of practice are akin to an OTA or a mini camp for the most part. There's no pads. There's a time limit. Today's practice was a little under an hour and a half. Everything goes quick. There's a lot of individuals, some special teams, and then some red zone periods. Jordan is not going to miss these first few practices in any capacity where it's going to hurt him or the team. Obviously, every rep matters. Every rep you want Jordan to be out there that he can be. It is going to be totally fine if that is, in fact, those first few practices. And by the way, the deal could get done later today. It could get done early tomorrow. As soon as that deal is done, Jordan will practice. And to be crystal clear, this is not a hold out. This is a hold in. The difference being Jordan Love is at training camp. He's not away from the team or doing his own thing. He is there. Now, partially, I'm sure, due to the fact that avoids some potential fines and things like that. But he is at practice. He is in the building. He's doing all the team meetings. He's doing everything else. And he was taking part in the non-physical side of practice. I mean, he was there. He was outside at practice. You could see him. It's just that he's not actually physically practicing. And, today, he probably missed, 20, 25 reps of actual teamwork. Probably, I don't even know if it would have been that much, to be honest. These things are not going to make or break this season. There's no vibe of there's major drama here. This is going to be a huge distraction. It can become that. It absolutely can become that if this lingers on. I would even say kind of through the weekend or maybe past that. And certainly if it gets to family night, yes, absolutely, that can become a distraction. But I would have argued, even if he was practicing to some extent, if he is not, if that deal's not done, that's still going to be talked about. That's still going to be somewhat of a distraction. So I don't think that changes the calculus all that much. And like I said from the outset, I believe that him not practicing is more likely to get this deal done sooner rather than later. And I think that is advantageous to everyone involved in the process. The less we can be talking about Jordan Love's contract and the number, unless we're talking about it actually being done, I think the better that is for the Packers, and they can just move on, put that to the side. And I think there's going to be an excitement from the team, from the fans, from Jordan, from his teammates about getting this done and making him the franchise quarterback. And Brian made it crystal clear. This is not a Packers decision of do we want to make him the franchise quarterback and pay him this X amount of money? It has nothing to do with that. They are well aware that he is the guy. He is the franchise quarterback. And now it's just coming to terms on a deal in what is a very difficult contract negotiation because the Packers are the only team in the NFL that really ever puts themselves in this situation where they let a first round pick sit for a few years, then play him, and then he becomes very good in a short period of time. You get this small sample size, and now you have to pay him this major deal. There's not a ton of precedence out there for this type of contract. And in the meantime, we see all of these massive contracts given to players like Trevor Lawrence. And if you're comparing Trevor Lawrence to Jordan Love and what Jordan Love did on the high side of last year, you're more apt to lean towards the Jordan Love side of things. So these negotiations are not simple. They are not easy. They have long-term ramifications based on contract structure, based on how much you give, based on guaranteed money, all of it. So these things take a little bit of time and effort to iron out. But it is clear that all sides are laser focused on getting this done sooner rather than later. And that's why I think that actually him not practicing is more likely to get this pushed through for better sooner and just get it done, which again, I think is the ultimate advantage here. And if we're talking 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 or more days from now, and it's still not getting done, we'll have a different tone, and I will have probably quite a bit of a different hot take on it, and have a different feeling on it. But for now, no concern, no real worry. I do just think this gets done in the next couple days, few days at most. And I will say this is not what I was expecting going into first day of practice. I didn't expect to go in to hear Brian and have him say, "Yep, Jordan's not practicing today." I didn't expect to go to a practice that didn't include Jordan Love. I definitely thought he was going to be there. There were, I think, reports that he, was going to still, report for sure, which he has, but I think even practice, and that ended up not being the case. And for anyone that wants to vilify Jordan here or say, he's already becoming, it was 8 games or whatever, and now he's this big diva. No. Like, these players get only so many shots at this sort of thing. And this is a massive deal with a massive amount of money. And we can argue till we're blue in the face of how money should be distributed and do athletes get too much money. That's a different conversation. This is how it works. We're not going to fix that today. We're not going to be able to come to an agreement on what should happen in that realm. The truth is, the NFL makes a massive amount of money. Half of that money goes to the players, and a huge chunk of that is going to go to the best players. That's just how it works. And Jordan Love is going to be one of those players that is getting that massive amount of money. And that is life-changing, life-altering, and franchise-altering. So it behooves Jordan and the franchise to make sure that this thing gets done the right way. And I think the vast majority of us, if we were in Jordan's shoes, would say yes, especially again, knowing that both sides are working in good faith and that it's probably this close to being done. Let's just chill. Let's not have any major injury happen or something like that. Let's work to get this done even quicker. And this will likely be done. The Band-Aid will be ripped. And in a couple of days, we'll be talking about Jordan Love being one of the highest, if not the highest paid player in all of the NFL. So I see no villain here from Jordan Love's side. I see no villain from the Packers side. This is just business. With Jordan being out, that left, Michael Pratt and Sean Clifford, with Sean Clifford being the primary quarterback today, Michael Pratt being the number 2, if you will. That's an interesting situation to be in. I think if you're looking for positive signs that this deal is going to get done sooner rather than later, no third quarterback. Or I guess in this case, a fourth quarterback if you want to consider Jordan. But there's not another quarterback that they brought in with Jordan being out. It's just Pratt and Clifford. And Goody did mention that they could bring somebody in if this does, elongate, if the process continues to go on. It just really feels that everyone is probably pretty confident that this is this close to getting done, and they're going to be able to get it done, in the very, very near future. And again, I think not having another quarterback. And if you're wondering about Jake Fromm, if they just try, Goody was clear that was just to try out some wide receivers and to get a look at Jake Fromm for their emergency board. They were not looking to pick him up. I think that is a positive sign, and everything that we have heard so far lends itself to believe that this is going to be, that everyone's optimistic about it. But with Pratt and Clifford being the QBs, my number 2 thing from today, and obviously again, number 1 is going to be the huge one with Jordan Love, just not practicing. Number 2, Sean Clifford had a very nice day. Now, this was a pretty basic practice. Some move the ball type activities, but not a ton. And then a lot of red zone, a lot of individual and some special teams. That was basically about it. There was no move the ball or like a 2-minute drill or trying to get the ball up and down the field. There was just some Again, some general plays that they ran in a team setting, and then some red zone. So there wasn't a ton of opportunity, but red zone, specifically for a quarterback, is one of the toughest areas. Everything is condensed. You've got everyone flying around, and you have to navigate a very small space and really throw with anticipation. And Sean Clifford did that on numerous occasions. He had 2 anticipation throws to Dontavian Wicks in the end zone for touchdowns. One was I had a great view of it. I was watching like literally right in front of me, and he throws well before Dontavian Wicks makes his break. And Wicks makes his break. Clifford, I think, purposefully threw it a little bit low so Wicks could go make the diving catch. Either way, it was exactly where it needed to be for Wicks to go get it. This is one of those ideal practice plays if you're a fan or if you're a coach of the team. I believe it was Keyshawn Nixon on the play, had phenomenal coverage. Like there's not much more he could have done. He was, all over it. He made a diving attempt at the play, but Clifford threw it where only Wicks could get it, and then Wicks went and made a really difficult, contested diving catch. It was a great throw with anticipation, great catch, great coverage. Check, check, check. Sign me up for those sort of plays in practice every single time. He had another anticipation throw to Wicks for a touchdown, had 2 really nice throws to Romeo Doubs for a touchdown, one on a quick out, one on a crosser that he threw ahead of him so he could run onto it and then run into the end zone. And then had a really quick short pass to Malik Heath for a touchdown as well, where Heath had to again go down to get it purposefully, I believe. It was right at the goal line. Great coverage again, this time by Javon Bullard, but it was Heath, that Heath went down to get it. Heath had the touchdown, and that was another really contested one. But the fact that Clifford in the red zone was able to navigate everything really well, I thought there were a couple times where pressure did get there. Rashawn Gary had a couple sacks. We'll talk about that a little bit more tomorrow. But how he navigated the pocket, how he was able to roll out and just kind of avoid pressure at times, I thought was impressive as well. So pretty good zip on the ball, good anticipation, good movement within the pocket, avoided any sort of turnover-worthy plays. And in a tight red zone series, I thought that's all you could have asked for from Sean Clifford on the first day. Not saying he's ready to be a starter, he's breaking out or anything like that. I'm just saying, like, when you lose your number 1 quarterback like that for a practice, and now it's the number 2 guy and he's got to come in and the offense still has to find a way to function, that is not always the easiest thing. And Sean Clifford came in, ran a very functional practice, made some really nice throws, and the offense was working. And that is all you want to see when your number 2 QB is in. That was a very positive day. As far as Michael Pratt, he didn't get a ton of time with the ones. He got a little bit, but there was nothing major that happened when he was in. And then the other times he was down with the 2s, and unfortunately at least I didn't have a view of that, so I couldn't tell what Pratt was doing down on the other side. Last but not least, the third big takeaway, the offensive line rotation. Zach Tom was back practicing, but he was not practicing in team. The starting offensive line was Rasheed Walker at left tackle, Elton Jenkins at left guard, Josh Myers at center, Sean Ryan at right guard, and Andre Dillard at right tackle. But we did see a couple things. We did see Jordan Morgan a decent amount at right guard. And I think one of the more intriguing things is we did see a decent amount and a real solid amount of Elton Jenkins at center. When Jenkins was at center, it was Rasheed Walker at left tackle, Sean Ryan at left guard, Elton Jenkins at center, Jordan Morgan at right guard, and then again, Andre Dillard at right tackle. You can basically take Dillard out of this equation because you know that's going to be Zach Tom at right tackle. So the 2 predominant lines, assuming Tom would have practiced, would have probably been Walker, Jenkins, Myers, Ryan, and Tom, or Walker, Ryan, Jenkins, Morgan, and Tom. So it feels like, at least from day 1, a lot of time left, a lot of ball game to go. It feels like it could be Rasheed Walker, who did not get taken out at left tackle as far as I could tell. Zach Tom at right tackle, and then Elton Jenkins is going to be in. But it feels like maybe Sean Ryan, Josh Myers, and Jordan Morgan, those 3 are fighting for 2 spots. And we kind of expected that, but I thought Josh Myers was maybe going to get handed this a little bit more, and maybe he still will. We're just talking about one pretty small practice. We'll see how this continues. But Matt did mention in OTAs and mini camps about how this was going to be something that they started to maybe solidify the line a little bit more come training camp time. And again, they could still do that, But day one, for Elton to get that many looks at center, that was a little bit telling to me. And I do wonder if Josh Myers maybe isn't quite guaranteed that spot as much as maybe myself and others thought going in. You guys know, I think that is a great thing. I think there needs to be competition for Josh Myers. And I'm totally cool with that being Elton Jenkins, but that will be a very interesting offensive line storyline to keep an eye on as training camp continues. Really quick, injuries, players that did not practice. Marshawn Lloyd was out with a hip injury. That's unfortunate. Katano Ladapo still not practicing from his foot injury. Jaden Reed was out, as we know. Corey Ballantyne, Caleb Jones, Tucker Kraft, Donovan Jennings. All of those injuries we knew about from the non-football injury list or the PUP list. And then, of course, Jordan Love was not practicing due to his contract. Lloyd was the only player not practicing that was not on either the PUP list or the NFI list, or again, Jordan Love due to his contract. Good news, Zach Tom again came back, practiced in individual periods, and Tyler Davis returned, actually got a decent amount of playing time with the ones, I think in large part due to the fact that Tucker Kraft was not practicing. That's going to do it for this quick hits. I know we obviously had a little bit more to talk about with the Jordan Love contract and what's going on with that. I will be back tomorrow with a full breakdown of everything that happened, any notes from locker room, etc. So you're not going to want to miss that tomorrow. Make sure to subscribe, like, comment, give those 5-star reviews. Those things always help a ton. It is training camp season. It is the best. The vibe at practice was immaculate. We'll be back tomorrow. Until next time, and as always, go Pack Go.